Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 6, The Last Battle. Really love this episode. It was a great sort of throwback episode to, the Clone Wars and, even the prequels, which, some people might not really care too much for a throwback to the prequels, but it was a throwback to the Clone Wars. We had, the original droids and stuff like that. I already forgot what they were actually called. But we have, the original droids, the Separatist droids. We have the tactical droids, which always really stood out to me because, it was always like, here's one of those freaking droids that was always evil. And they always made those droids really evil, and they always seemed to be able to break the bounds. They were always almost like AI, and I think that's why I like those droids. And they already did that, and they do it even in this episode. This is something I remember from the Clone Wars series, where it's like every time, or it seemed like most of the time at least, they fight these droids, and they're either following programming exactly, and they're just super evil. They always have that voice, which kind of makes them sound evil. And then most of the time, it's like, oh, I decided to take this liberty or that liberty to do something extra evil. And it's like, how is this not AI? I always thought that was cool. It's like they aren't AI, but within their programming, they have certain bounds. And then a lot of the times, like in this episode, they go even beyond that, and it's like I find some way to logically reprogram myself or stop something from happening, like all of us being shut down, little stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool, and I was like, it's cool to see that come back. They had some major Clone Wars PTSD going on with Rex, where he's like, especially after they first get knocked out, and he wakes up and he sees the droid, and he's like, oh no, like the war's not over. And he came to his son, he's like, Cody, and he was like freaking out and stuff. And he's like, I'm sorry, I was kind of out of it for a minute. I was like, holy crap, they did a great job with that, like him having like PTSD and, them being a coordinated unit and him freaking out, like, hey, the stuff that, these plans that we have work on timing. You can't just go off, like you can't let Chopper show you something. That crap doesn't work right now. We are here because we need to solve this problem, and we need to work as a team because it is 100% timing and precision. We can't have, extra stuff going on. Otherwise, you go out, you get shot, or you get surrounded, or, the team has to, go out because they can't wait for you, or at least Rex felt that way when they were waiting on Ezra, and he got shot. He got shot a couple of times. It was kind of freaking me out. I'm like, I was hoping, even when this episode first started, I was like, man, I hope they don't kill Rex. It would be like a fitting death because it'll be sort of a, Clone Wars type of thing. But I was like, I hope they don't kill him in this because that kind of seems where they might be headed with this. So I was glad that didn't happen. He gets shot in the chest, and then he gets shot in the face by the destroyer, which I love the destroyers. I was like, when they brought them in, I was like, I don't know why they got rid of them. Like, they have their own force fields and stuff. That's what made them so hard. Even like Jedi can't fight them because it's like, well, there's nothing to do. If I reflect, a bullet back at the shield, it just dissipates. And it's like, well, what the F am I supposed to do here? Like, there's nothing to do. It's a standstill. I can block you all day long, but I had to take off basically. So I always loved the destroyers. I thought they had a cool design. They come in like basically wheels that transform, and they're like Transformers a little because they're just wheels, and then boom, you have like a sentry turret shooting at you with the force field. So, I always loved them. I was happy to see them come back into play. I was like, man, that's awesome. They were always tough to beat. So, that was really fun. They, they get surrounded. They bring back ray shields, which I thought was awesome. It was like, watch out for ray shields. And Ezra's so young, they don't even use ray shields anymore. It's like, what's a ray shield? And they get hit with the ray shield. I was like, that is freaking sweet. I didn't even consider that they stopped using those until he said, I was like, oh yeah, I guess they don't exist anymore. Which is weird because that's a great trap. Like, that's a phenomenal trap. Like, you just walk into a shield and poof, you're trapped now. You can't, there's nothing you can do. But, I don't know. Oh, excuse me. They just stopped using them. So I was like, alright, So there's certain elements, the destroyers and maybe ray shields. Those are like the two things they probably should have kept on them, but it was fun watching them go through this little mission, and they get through it and they succeed, and then it's like, no, you guys would have died if it weren't for the fact that these droids were so incredibly old. And then Ezra's like, no, you didn't win either. Like, no one won. Like, if you had the Clone Wars and they ended, the Jedi were wiped out, the clones were, decommissioned, and the droids were all shut down, or at least for the most part, for all three. If no one, if a war ended and none of you won, then who did? And then, of course, that mentions the Empire. They also happen to be on their way, and it's like, yeah, the Empire is the one who actually won this war. So, we need to band together. And they actually team up. We have a clone, 2 Jedi, and, some old Clone Wars droids actually going up against the Empire and fighting against stormtroopers and going up against walkers and stuff. And it was really awesome. I was like, that is actually very cool. They team up, they roll out the canisters and stuff. And I love the fact that they mention, like, we'll shoot, I'll have my droid shoot at you guys, and you can redirect with better accuracy to blow up the bombs. I was like, that's actually pretty awesome. That's really cool. And it was kind of funny because it made me think it was like a slight reference to stormtroopers. Like, they went from droids that can't shoot to humans that can't shoot. And I that's what I thought in my head, at least. It may not have even been a reference to that. It was just like, hey, the droids can't shoot 100% well, so we'll have them aim at you guys at a much closer range, and then you just deflect them. But that's the first thing I thought was like, you mentioned like, oh, they can't shoot too well. I was like, neither can stormtroopers. That was like the first thing I was thinking, like, no, nobody can, so I think they'll be fine. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the action was good. It was a very simple episode. It was, a very, very good Rex episode, of course. Him going in, him still with the dual wielding of his little blasters. But it was sweet. It was a cool, action-wise, it was really nice. The teamwork was good, even if it was flawed, for sure. But it was really nice. It was some good action, and then a nice, odd sort of team-up at the end, thanks to Ezra's idea, like, none of you won, but somebody had to if the wars, actually ended. And so they all team up, they fight them, and it was cool. I really did enjoy it. I was like, this was a nice, fun episode. It was a cool little throwback to the Clone Wars. A lot of good stuff with Rex. The references. They got the proton bombs in there, which, if I remember right, the proton bombs are like the episode 2 thing that Jango Fett had. That were like sonic booms in space and stuff, which I kind of always love those. But the proton bombs, and then the older styles of droids and the ray shields and stuff. And I was like, this. It's actually just really cool, and I'm pretty sure it was one of those like almost circular ships that they have in the prequels, the Separatist ships. So that was pretty cool too. It was destroyed, so I couldn't tell if that's what it was, but it seemed like it kind of had a curve going on. I couldn't really tell 100% because it was just really messed up. But fun episode. The action was good. Story was definitely good. The seriousness of just basically a former life, from Rex's character. Very well done. Very, like I said, very good action. Can't talk enough about the action, but the drama was definitely great as well. It was a great blend of action and personal drama, and wanting to have this really successful mission from not only this droid, but from this clone who was like, you know what? He wants to end it his way, and I want to end it the same way. But, of course, each of us wants to be the winner of the way that it ends. And it played out really well. And it was a nice sort of stalemate for the two, and then adjoining. I don't know if we'll ever end up seeing these droids again, because it's like, you guys have like I think I could have swore. Excuse me. I could have sworn he said, like, you have like a less than 1% chance or something like that to beat the Empire. And I'm like, well, that's depressing. And they kind of didn't mention it either. I thought for sure they'd have like Ezra make a joke about how low the percentage was, like how low the chance was. But he was like, all right. And he cut the communication off, and that was it. I was like, oh, I'm really surprised they didn't have a joke about, man, the odds are really against us, but, whatever, hope, and, or, something like that. But it was like, nope. They go their separate ways, and it was just really cool. It was a nice, simple episode. They, of course, get rescued. They have a new ship that they're going to be painting up, which I thought was pretty cool. So I'm excited to see that play out. And how they do the design and stuff, because there's so much canvas on it. I don't know if we should expect like a big picture, which it's got 2 sides, so it could be like a bunch of little stuff on one side, and then the other side could have like a really cool big picture. It might not exactly be like the Rebel symbol, but it might be something just like a really big picture. Maybe it'd be something simple where it's like you know, Vader's face or like just the Empire symbol with an X on it. It's something simple, but I'm actually excited to see what they do. They got so much blank canvas. It's like there's a lot of potential of just really cool design, art, and stuff like that for what they're gonna do with it. So looking forward to how they're gonna have Sabine, you know, kind of mess with that. But pretty fun episode, of course. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, or least favorite parts, and if there's, you know, anything that you guys would love to see Rebels have a reference to as far as, you know, the old Star Wars universe, whether it's, you know, just going back to the Clone Wars, or if it's going like way back to like Knights of the Old Republic type stuff, you know, comic book lore, or, you know, all the old legends stuff as they call it now. I'm pretty sure that's what they call it, or legacy stuff. If there are any like big references you guys would like to see mentioned, or, you know, talked about, well, I guess it's the same thing really, either shown or talked about in Rebels, I would love to know what you guys would like to see. For me personally, there's not much I can really think of. I mean, we got the cool Clone Wars stuff. All my favorite stuff actually is kind of more recent. Like, I can't think of anything. Like, I don't think they'll go Knights of the Old Republic type stuff, but I would never hate to see any of that if we saw like some really old Jedi Temple type stuff, like, you know, big story, you know, old legacy type stuff. But anything I can think of that would actually play out really well, I've seen. We got Darth Maul back. That's like all I need. Like, we got Darth Maul back. They brought him back again from Clone Wars. We got to see, you know, the droids and stuff like that. They mention, they do flat out mention Attack of the Clones. Like, I should tell you about the Battle of Geonosis and stuff. I was like, that's a really cool reference. So I thought that was nice. But those are like, you know, little simple things. The Darth Maul one is like the super epic one. I guess Vader was technically an epic one as well. And, you know, I don't know. If we could get some other stuff, that would be cool. We kind of had a reference to Yoda with the voice. We got to see him in the last season as well. So that was, of course, it's Yoda. It's awesome. So I think everything I could think of, I've pretty much seen. You know, like, other than like the Darth Revan thing, which is like the only real knowledge I have of like really old lore. Other than that, all my lore comes after the movies, which of course doesn't matter now because they've erased all that stuff. So all my lore is like post original trilogy, but I can't think of anything really big pre-original trilogy, or even prequel trilogy. All I can think of is like, well, reference this from the prequels. That's all I really have at this point. And after that is like jump all the way back to Knights of the Old Republic and Darth Revan and all that. But we'll see what we get. You know, like I said, if you guys have any references, and even if you have something that would at least fit during that time frame, like, I would love for them at some point to just go to Tatooine and it's like, oh snap, there's Luke. Which we might do. They might not show Luke, but I mentioned before, the Darth Maul thing, I think we are going to get Obi-Wan somewhere in this season, and I truly hope we get that, and we have like a final battle between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan is the only person that should kill Darth Maul. If he dies, it either needs to be of old age, or Obi-Wan needs to be the one to kill him. Those are like my only two acceptable endings to the character of Darth Maul. He just dies of old age, or he's killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we might not get Luke, but I think we will get, you know, an in-between trilogy version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That's like my only other little reference thing I'd like to see, just some of the other characters. But like I said, if you guys have any, you know, older Star Wars references, or just references that would fit within the time frame that you guys would like to see, you know, just shown or at least talked about or something like that, definitely put that in the comment section below. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about the episodes, you know, in general. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.